Alright, let's have the third example. Okay, so we're going to create a program that will input 10 characters and output how many of the characters entered were alphabetic, which is A to Z, numeric 0 to 9, and special character. Then we're going to repeat the whole process if the user press a value of Y. So in this case, we're going to make use of, again, either a for loop or a while loop that will input the 10 characters. And then we're going to count the number of occurrences of the alphabets, the numbers, and special characters. And then we are going to make use of a do while loop to process again the entire program if, for example, we ask the user to repeat the entire process. If the user press a value of Y, then we repeat the entire process. If it's no, then we stop the execution of the program or the do while loop. So in this case, again, we need to validate the input value of the Y and N. But for in the case of input, we are accepting any characters. It's either a letter, a special characters, or a numeric value or whatsoever. Okay. So again, for the declaration statement, so again, we need to input 10 characters. So in that case, I'm going to declare car, and then I'm going to use let, okay, for my input characters. Input character, okay. Then I'm going to use again int, okay, for counting the characters. So again, that's count. So that's actually value or count, inputting the values of let from let 1 to let 10. Okay? Then in this case, we need to count the number of occurrences of alphabet, numeric, and special characters. So again, I'm going to declare 3 variables that counts alpha, count A, count D is for the count of numeric, and then count S for the special character. Okay? So I'm not going to initialize the value of count A, count D, count S in the declaration statement. Instead, I'm going to initialize it in the executable so that once we repeat the execution of the entire process, all count A, D, and S will then reinitialize to 0. Okay? Okay, now in this case, I'm going to declare another header file. So the header file is sharp include CC type. Okay? We're going to use the CC type later on. I'm going to use a keyword on how are we going to identify whether it is an alphabet, a numeric, and a special character. So in this case, for detecting whether it is an alphabet, I'm going to use the keyword is alpha. This is detecting the value or the character if it's a letter, okay, small a or small z or capital letters A to Z. And then if it's digit is actually testing whether the input number or input value of the character is a number. And otherwise, it's just else only. Okay, we count that it is actually a special character. Okay, so we're going to make use of a keyword is alpha and is digit for the number. So let's go back to the executable code. Okay, so again, I'm going to use for loop. If you do not want to use for loop, you may then use the while loop. So for me, I'm going to use the solution for loop. Okay, so since I need 10 input numbers, so again, I'm going to include const int size equals 10 since we're going to input size 10. Okay, then I'm going to prompt the user, okay, to input 10 size. But before that, since in the program, we need to again repeat the whole process if the user press a value of Y. So I'm going to make use of do Y. Okay, then the entire syntax will be included in the do Y. Do Y. Okay, then I'm going to type already here the variables. I'm going to include another variable name. Let's say, for example, again, car, and then we have choice, semicolon. If my choice is equals to small y, then we'll repeat the process, the entire process. So the entire process will be included here inside the looping statement of the while. So again, I'm going to use system CLS for the clear screen so that after we repeat the process, okay, the previous output will be cleared on screen. So I'm going to use cout, enter, size of characters, and okay. Then, in this case, I'm going to initialize all the values of count A, count D, and count S. Okay, so I'm going to type count A equals 0, count D equals 0, and count S equals 0 also. Okay, and then I'm going to use already the for loop, and I'm going to use the count, and my input is let. So I'm going to use for count equals 1. The next expression will be count is less than or equals to the size. Since we need to input 10 characters, then I'm going to use count plus plus. Then begin and end. Okay. Then I'm going to just display cout so that we can display 1 to 10. Okay. Count, colon, semicolon. So this will display repeatedly from 1 to 10, in, and then our value let semicolon. Okay. So once we input the let value or the character value, let's say for example, I input A, or I input 1, or I input %sign. So this must be counted for, if it's A, it must be counted to count A. If it's 1, it must be counted and occur in count D. And if it's a %sign, which is a special character, it must be included in the count S. So how are we going to do that? So we're going to test using the if statement inside the for loop. Then if we are going to test whether it is a letter, a number, or a special character. As mentioned earlier, we're going to use the is alpha and the is digit for the letters and the numbers. So if is alpha, parentheses, let, okay, whether it is an alphabet uppercase or lowercase, then it's actually a letter. So I'm going to use count A plus plus semicolon. Else, if I'm going to use is digit, parentheses, let. So I'm going to test whether if my character is a digit or a number, then it is count D plus plus. Otherwise, it's already a special character, so it's just else, and then count S plus plus semicolon. Okay, so if it's alphabet, then count A plus plus. If it's a number, then count D plus plus. Otherwise, it's not a number, it's not a letter, so it's a special character, so that's why count S plus plus. So after the for loop, after processing the alphabet, the digit, and the special character, so we can then now display the values of the alphabet, the digit, and the special character. So cout, okay, number of alphabet equals, okay, this is count A and L, number of numbers equals, so this is count D and L, and then number of special character equals count S and L. Okay, then after that, okay, we want to repeat the entire process, so we're going to prompt the user to Do you want to repeat the whole process? So it's questionable to Y and N. Okay, semicolon. C in, we use choice, semicolon. So again, we want to validate whether our input of character value for choice is Y and N only. So we're going to use a do while loop. Then I'm going to cut this and paste it and put it inside the do while loop. Y, again, ans is not equals to single quote Y, and ans is not equals to single quote and semicolon. Okay, and then while choice is yes, then we repeat the entire process, asking again the user to input 10 values of characters. Okay, so let's run the code. Oops. C out, sorry. So that's part of how we compile the code. Sorry, not ans. Choice. This is also choice. Sorry. Again, let's run. So we're going to ask the user to just wait, enter 10 of characters. So let's say I input Q, 2, 3, ampersand sign, asterisk sign, parentheses, capital R, capital T, and then another number and another special letters. So if we're going to count, the number of occurrences of a letter is 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 characters of a letter. Then 1, 2, 3 characters of a number, and 1, 2, 3, 4 characters of a special character. Okay, so that's the output. Then if we want to repeat the entire process, if I press H, so that will not be accepted. So again, it will prompt the user to ask again, do you want to repeat the whole process? So if I put T, again repeat, but if I put yes, it will again ask the user to input 10 of the characters. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 3 letters, 4 numbers, and 3 special characters. Okay? So if I press N, so the entire process will be stopped. Okay? Okay.